CSC Show Control Tutorial 3, Adding Music to a Cue. Now that we have our cues created, we'll want to add some information to them. So I'm going to add an audio file to play back with a cue. CSC works with different types of audio files like MP3, etc., but it seems to work best with WAV files. So in advance, I would take and convert my files over so that they're WAV files uncompressed. That's going to give you the best sound in the theater anyway. So working with the PC, I'm going to go in advance and convert all my files over. So I have some sample WAV files in. So I've highlighted my cue, scene 1 up here. Now one thing that I'm going to do, remember this cue list, and if I click in the description box, it goes from one view to expanded view. So I'm going to go to expanded view, click on my cue 1. Then up here in my wave player, this is where I'm going to select my audio cue that I want to play back. First of all, I want to select my player. Now, I'm in the LE version. I have a lot of different players here. I can play easily up to 6 or 8 audio files simultaneously. I'm going to just leave this as selected as player 1 for the time being. And I'm going to click here and then you move around, find your directory where your WAV files are that you're going to play back. I'm going to select happy here, select open. So now that's put in, and the reason I did the expanded view is you now see that this wave is attached to this particular cue. When I click on the description, it disappears. This is one of the things I like about the program. It hides all that internal information, so the person running the cue list does not need to know what WAV files are playing back or whatever. They just need to know I'm going to fire this particular cue at a certain time in the performance. But as far as the programmer, you and I, that's setting this up, then you're going to want to look at the expanded view and see what is contained in each cue. So I have my wave 1, it's in there. I have some options. I can fade this in. I can fade this out. It automatically brings it in set at minus 12 decibels here. We can also adjust the pan. If we need this to wait a little bit after the cue is fired, let's say there's a lighting cue that goes with this, and we'd like the lights to come up 3 or 4 seconds first, and then the WAV file to play after that. We can delay the playback however many seconds we want to delay it. We're not going to discuss these other options for the time being. It's more advanced and you probably really won't need that. Another thing that you'll need to decide is where you want this to go. Now remember, we have 2 audio output devices that we set up. We have a USB out and we have an audio box out. So when you go to bus here and click on bus, it gives you some choices. I can do my USB out or my audio box out. Or I can do mono, and I can just do simply one channel of either of those devices. I'm going to select multi, and it says no group for the time being, but I'm going to set it multi. Now I'm going to go over here and click on this speaker, and here are my 2 devices that I'm outputting audio to. So I have my USB out and I have my audio box out. Now I have to create a group here, so I'm going to click on create group and call this main, and then hit enter on my keyboard. So now I've created that, and notice that up here in the patch now it does say main. First I'm going to click link here and slide this up so I have a little bit of volume happening. Now I can do a little bit of a preview over here by clicking on my play button, and you'll hear the file playing back. So let's say my USB out is going to my front of house speakers. So I can adjust the volume to those. Over here, I can either link or unlink. Let's say that this audio feed here is going or on stage for the actors to hear to be able to sing along with the track. But this audio feed here is going back to the green room where the actors are getting ready. So instead of linking these, I'm going to leave 2 separate audio levels. So you'd start to see how you can use this multi-audio device. My front of house speaker volume, my upstage speakers for the actors to hear and sing along with the track, and then my green room speakers. So you can start to see how this works to your advantage. Then this would be over here, your overall volume that the cue is going to play back at. And I'll close that window now. So again, we can audition. You can adjust volume down here. Again, more than likely you would do that actually in the theater. Okay, so you've got your output set up. Everything is ready to go as far as that goes. Now let's take a look at Wave Player file overview. I do usually leave this up during a performance. It's going to give you a look at what's happening with your playbacks. Right now, we only have group 1 here set up, so you're going to want to keep that selected. These two icons over here give you a different look at the grid. I just generally leave these unselected. When this comes up over here, this will also show you different groupings. You can just leave it selected the way it is. If you'd like to see this list enlarged a little bit, you can click on enlarge, or you can zoom out or zoom in, whatever you want. For the time being, it will show you the length of that particular wave file in total, and then as it progresses here, you'll notice as it plays, it will show you how far along you are in the playback. If you'd rather see it as a countdown, you can click this icon here. Now that gives you total length of 254, but now as we play back, you'll see it count down to remaining time. Instead of counting up, it's counting down. So you can leave that selected if you prefer seeing these as countdowns. Okay, I do like to keep this window up because it does show me what is playing back and what my progress is with each wave file, so that is often handy during performance. Another little trick here, you have the option of putting these wave files into different positions, like wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and wave 4, and we have a mixer down here which we can expand. Again, you can play multiple wave files back at the same time, and we're going to do that in one of the other tutorials here. But if I want to, if I'm not in playback mode, I can select this wave, I can select it here, and I can drag it to a different player. So now this happy wave is in player 2. Just make sure that even though we're in player 2 indicated up here, that again we've selected multi and main as far as our group goes, so that our playback is controlled there. So now it's not going to change much, it's just going to be listed as player 2. So you see it over here as player 2 instead of player 1. This sometimes is handy if the previous cue is playing on player 1 and I'm fading that out. Usually my next cue I'll use player 2 so that they don't accidentally overlap. So I'll be fading out player 1 and player 2 is going to be coming online and playing that, just in case the fade out kind of overlaps a little bit and it sounds clumsy as far as an audio standpoint goes. All right, as far as the Wave Player Live mixer down here, this allows you to adjust the level of playback. Again, you can go in here and adjust pan. So besides adjusting your pan, your volume level up here and your pan up here, you can also use the controls down here. So my wave 2, if it's playing back, I can adjust the volume level, I can adjust the pan. Back and forth. If I have multiple waves playing back at the same time, I can mute this and solo another wave, or solo it just so I have this one. Very handy during an actual performance. If you have this up, I can click the F button and that will actually take about 5 seconds and fade the file down and then stop it from playback. So that's what those buttons are. It's mute this particular wave player, or solo this wave player, or fade down this wave player. You can see some indications down here as far as the decibel levels, and we can see that as we're moving. You're not able to type in directly, but you can see the decibel levels. You can see what cue you're on. You can see what is currently saved. So if I'm moving this around now, notice I move this up to a decibel of -4.5, but what's saved is 12. Okay, I haven't really changed the decibel level here. I need to go over here and click Save. Now the new level of 4.5 is saved for that. So if I do any changes, you need to go over here and select save, and that will do that for you. If I had not done that, let's put this back to, let's say, -10 and save that as the new level. Let's say I'm moving around and I decide, you know what, I think the original level was okay. Then I just come over here and I click on restore, and it's going to restore it back to the original level since I haven't saved any changes. Now, you do have the option, if you click on link up here, any changes that you make will automatically be saved back. So notice that when I'm moving here, it is changing the levels up here, and if I'm changing pan, notice it is changing the levels in the queue itself, and they will be saved automatically. So just be careful of that. If you do have the link command on, it's automatically linking to the queue, and it's going to automatically save any changes. It makes it quicker so that you don't have to hit the save button to save, but you do have to be careful of that if you are using the link command to do that. All right, and if you're working with this and you're checking audio levels and things have kind of become discombobulated or not the way you want them, you can always click on reset mutes and reset solos, and it'll just it'll open up all the mutes and it'll open up all the solo buttons. So if I selected solo for this, I can select this and it will unsolo all the solos that are there. So one more very interesting feature of the Wave Player Live Mixer is the ability to create a fade cue for you. So say for example, I'm playing back my scene 1 music here, and I decide I need to do a fade down or a fade up or a change in pan, and you can have multiple wave files playing back, and you can adjust the various controls across wave players here. And then you simply click the create button here, and it will create a cue that is an adjustment in the volume level or the pan for you. Let me show you how that works. So I'm going to start scene 1 here. I'll hit my go button. So the music's playing back. Now I'm going to re-highlight scene 1, make my adjustments in pan or volume, and like I said, I could have several different waves. Then I simply click create, and it creates a new cue for me. So now we have this new cue that's built in there. So now as part of my playback, I can be playing this. And it's set to 5 seconds, but you can redo it as you want. So you may find that very useful because you can actually kind of do a live adjustment for it and then save that, and you'll be very pleased with the results that you have. So that's what all the various buttons mean on here. Last thing up the top, once you've got things done and you don't want to play around with any of these fancy buttons, you just need your level control over here. You can go between expanded mode and skinny mode, which just gives you control of your volume over here.